So I just got back from my 7-mile run in Roseville. About to get inside the house, the condo, I mean. And figured I would record this video because I guess there's a lot to talk about. I'm planning on making like a fat fasting meal, even though I'm not really fat fasting. The okra and with Brie cheese from France, and I wanted to show you how I make that. But before we do that, there's some stuff I want to talk about, which obviously is going back to the 10% body fat goal, because it's very important to me. And again, I still don't know if it's really worth the juice is worth the squeeze on it, but I am pushing regardless. And it seems to be, because I'm in the right direction according to my results, right? Anyway, so I'm gonna talk a little bit about that and what I've been doing. Sorry, so the house is a mess, so I need to clean that up before I start making the food. Melissa, my girlfriend, she got me a smart TV with I forgot what kind of speaker that is, where it's not really part of the whole thing, but I haven't really been watching TV for a while, since like my ex got something for this, or actually since I got Roku for that, but then the Roku thing just died out after about 2 different uses, and I thought about like getting a new one, but I was like, dude, I don't even watch TV barely. But she was willing to buy it for me, so I'm like, hell yeah. So I put Frasier on. I'm kind of a fan of Frasier, but on Pluto. Frasier and Becker are my favorite shows, I think. One of my favorite shows. And I like to watch Home Improvement too. Frasier, it's just like, I don't know, I just like Frasier. Makes me laugh sometimes, but let's see. It's just, I don't know, it's just a aesthetic comedy. Come on. Anyway, it's loading. But anyway, yeah, I wanted to describe more about my journey, if you will, to get to 10% body fat and what has happened this week. So this week, pretty much every week now. Oh, it says, are you sure you want to exit? No. I'm basically deciding to do a 2-day, a 2-day water fast once a week. And usually that's going to be on a Monday and a Tuesday. That's what I've decided to do. And whether I plateau on that or not is going to be a good question, because it's possible to still plateau on that approach. There's a Filipino guy named Jerome, and he does alternate day fasting, and he has a goal of, I think he said 15% body fat, which I've already achieved, but well, that's another thing. In reality, I think I'm fluctuating now between 14.8% and 15.2, maybe 15.3%. And I'll explain why I think that is. But basically, that's his approach, and that was my approach for a while, alternate day fasting, where you kind of like don't eat anything one day and then eat a bunch the next day. I've since kind of abandoned that approach. I was doing that for about 2 or 3 weeks, and it worked well. But that's because I feel that I know a little bit more about what's going on with fasting than I did back then. So I feel like it's not like there's more to it than just doing that. And now I have a sense that I kind of know what I need to do. But it sounds like to me, if I do 2 water fasts, 2 days of water fast a week, that would get me to cut to where I want to be, And that, again, produces on average 1,200 calories of intake per day. And that doesn't count. I'm not saying that that's what I'm netting, but I'm saying that's how much I intake. And the amount of activity is probably about minus 300 calories a day on average. And again, these numbers might change, but they're definitely not going in the opposite direction. So anyway, I wanted to explain like a little bit more about my observations. So the last time I broke the fast last week, right? Last week I went a little bit overboard. I did 3 days instead of 2. And on the third day I did like a dry fast. And when I broke it, I weighed in at 154 pounds. And then when I got back, like 3 days later, I didn't weigh myself for a long time because I was like, I just don't want to drive myself crazy. It's Fraser. And so I basically didn't weigh myself until I think it was Monday morning or Sunday morning. No, I think it was Monday morning. And I got a reading of 161 pounds. I thought, holy crap, how in the hell did I gain 7 pounds, And I think when I broke my fast on last Thursday, what happened was, I remember how I even showcased it. I was just eating a bunch of nuts, fats, and I know there's carbs in nuts, but I was having low carb nuts, obviously. So most of it was like a bunch of fats. It was intentionally a bunch of fats. I didn't have any protein hardly. It was just a bunch of fats. So that was my focus on that day, and I think even the next day as well. And I think it took me a while before I actually had a meat meal. But then it was I think it was Friday or Saturday, where I actually had a meat meal, and I had 2 meat meals, and I ended up having about 2,100 calories on that day, right? And I think I showed you. And one of my YouTube videos got deleted as a result because I titled it something weird like dry fasting, it's not worth the squeeze, blah, blah, blah. And, I guess somebody assumed I was being anorexic or I had an eating disorder, which was bullshit because if I had a choice, I would be eating Ben & Jerry's every day, which I was doing, and I used to eat Sonic every other day, every other night and stuff, but my triglycerides were 151. News update, my triglycerides are now 109 2 years later. So it's going down for real, so to speak. Even though my LDL is now 230, it went up from like 110. So, but that's a good thing, I think. I have to get an advanced lipid panel to prove that I have fluffy, big LDL particles, and not ones that are gonna force the triglycerides into plaque, which is probably not the case for me. But anyway, this is kind of a long-winded 8-minute answer to say that, well, okay, so I think that weight gain a lot of it was water retention, because after that 161, I did 2-day fast, fasted Monday, fasted Tuesday, and then on Wednesday morning, which was it this morning? I'm sorry, yesterday morning, I weighed in at 156, and that took 2 days. So most of that was obviously, if it only took 2 days to do that, most of it was water retention. And then, and I'm sure part of it was fat as well, because when I did the 2 days fasting, I was about 0.8 pounds heavier than that the week before. So I think I did lose some fat as well. But yeah, I mean, it's just and also some of it was glycogen, because on Saturday, that must have been Friday. The meat meal was Friday. But on Saturday, I mean, you're not supposed to do low calorie, but I did low calorie, and I basically had one big meal in the morning from a restaurant with an omelet, and no carbs or anything. But later on that day, I don't know what happened, but I felt because I traveled and I went to a beach town area called Carmel. I had 2, basically equivalent to, I had 3 chocolate bars and a few scoops of these nut butters. It added up to about 40 grams of sugars, and I don't know how many carbs, but I'm sure it was more than that. So basically I was basically whatever water I was going to take in from there on out. That was just before the 161, right? it was going to be, my muscles were going to retain the water and stuff like that to effectively make me seem like I'm bigger than what I was. So what I noticed is after that 2-day fast, well, before the 2-day fast, my abs were really, really strong. Like they were showing really, they were very, protruding very much, and my muscles seemed like they were bigger too, like my biceps and all that. And then 2 days later, it seemed like they went away. Like, what the hell happened? After 2 days. So obviously, there's like an interaction where if you have sugar and stuff like that and carbs, your muscles retain it to make them look and appear and like feel and literally be more muscular. So if I had taken my body fat percentage, I'm sure it would have been like 13%, after just doing some sugar. Because my muscles would be effectively seem higher than what they are, than what they would be if you didn't have the water retention. So it's kind of a weird situation going on. Where ironically, by having the sugar, it actually made me in a way more fit in a temporary sense. So it went away, and when that went away, for some reason, no matter what, like my muscles just weren't showing as much, and it wasn't because I got fatter, because I measured my waist and I was actually smaller in waist. So I don't think I got fatter, because why would I get fatter if I'm not consuming anything? So that's like after 2 days. So, and then what I noticed is after the 2 days, obviously I got down to 156.0 pounds, and that was about 0.8 pounds less than the week before at the same time. So I am losing fat. I think I had less fat, and I think so. Or I just had a lot less water retention, which doesn't really make sense because I feel like it would go down about the same, because that mechanism would stay the same. You know what I mean? I don't know how to explain it. But the other thing that I want to explain too, I know it keeps dragging on and on, because I'm getting to a point here, right? I'm basically realizing that, I kind of came to a realization that that I think when you're on a fast, you don't want to have a lot of fats at once. I think that, I could be wrong, but it seems like, and this is from also like kind of doing some research and like just kind of seeing the weight results from the time to time, is I think that your fat cells are extremely sensitive in terms of grabbing on and storing the fat as soon as you break your fast, whether it's a dry or a water fast. Because I'm sure that when I got down to 154, it was like I probably did that 7 pounds increase was probably largely, a lot of it was fat. And let me tell you something, when I broke my fast this week, right, what I did was I actually had 170 grams of protein the next day and about 30 or 40 grams of fat, which is very low for me. So I basically flipped the script of what I'm normally used to doing, and I had a high level of protein instead. But what I ended up doing was I worked out, and that was yesterday, of course, right? I broke my 2-day fast for the week yesterday. When I went out and I had that 170 grams of protein, I kind of spread it out throughout the day, and part of it was like 60 grams was me bringing the drinks, protein powders and drinks like that at the actual place that I would work out, and doing a lot of resistance training, do a lot of pull-ups and stuff like that. By the way, I feel really achy from that workout yesterday. It was pretty tough. So I was probably doing about 2 hours of 1.5 hours of resistance training, and I did cardio just to get that out of the way. So I did about 40 minutes of cardio at the gym. But in addition to that, I also ran about 40 minutes of cardio, so that's about 5 miles. So I did about an hour and a half of cardio in total. I know I said 40 and 40, but maybe that those are approximations. I mean, it's not quite that. Maybe I might have been 50, I don't know. But other than that, I did about an hour and a half of resistance training, Um, it was quite. It was a lot of heavy lifting, so I'm feeling a little sore, but not as bad as it could be because I took collagen this morning too, 20 grams of collagen. But when I was there, I basically had 60 grams of protein. So every time I know I don't even know if this is the right way of doing things, but what what I did is like, for example, if I did like a hundred, sit-ups or whatever, I would subsequently take a sip of the protein shake. So then over time, I was doing that after I would push myself and then do like 10 reps or something, and then I would take a sip of that, and there was less recovery time and stuff like that. So that was very nice. I think my muscle. I think I did gain. Maybe I didn't gain muscle, but maybe I preserved it well, over time. But I wanted to explain that approach a little bit with a little bit more discernment, because I actually think that might be a good approach to breaking a fast, but I would say one should be careful doing that because, for example, by doing the cardio, I was able to keep my ketones up, but the next day, like they were basically above 1.0. So like I think it was anywhere from 1.2 to 1.8 the next day. If I didn't do cardio, I think it would be like 0.4. But what happened was I noticed I tried to so I didn't really fast, but I made my layered latte in the morning, which has no protein at all. So I was basically trying to get used to breaking the fast, or my body breaking the fast, so that I can have fat later on and start mobilizing fats a little bit better. And so that was okay, but the problem with that is that for some reason, when I decided to have an actual meal at 12 p.m., that was noon today, right? So before I did that, I had 300 calories of a bulletproof coffee that I like to have. I call it a layered latte. I put coconut milk in it and stuff like that, it's like good fats and stuff to help. It's like vitamin E based fats and stuff like that. It's really good for you. It's very, very nutritional, and I recommend it it's not just empty calories. I put red palm oil in there, ghee and stuff like that. So it's not just like it's not just like empty calories where you're wasting, like you go to Starbucks and you waste calories or whatever. It's actually a nutritional bulletproof coffee that allows you to be alert. And he calls it like, I've posted it before. But anyway, I don't always use layered. Sometimes I use coconut milk to make it. And ironically, I only used a little bit of about 4 grams of coconut sugar, which doesn't kick me out of ketosis. But here's what I'm saying is that I did test my ketones before I had lunch. It was about 1.2. But then after I had lunch, they went down to 0.8. And then after that, so I had some protein at lunch. I probably had about 20 to 40 grams, but I was trying to keep it higher on maybe 30 grams, higher on the fats. So I probably had about 50 grams of fat. Lunch maybe, yeah. So I tried to so in total, because the drink, I think it has about 50 grams of fat that I have, but the drink is about 300 calories. So in total, so far my total intake is about 800. Today is about 800 calories, 850 calories. And so you can imagine that, it's pretty much no carb. I think I must have had probably 8 grams of carbs, 10 grams of carbs. Because I did have three small squares of dark chocolate, which only added up to about 5 grams of sugar. It was 70%. I always like to keep it low on that kind of stuff. So, but yeah, to list everything for you, it would be kind of hard for me to remember every little thing, but I remember I was keeping track. About 850 calories. But anyway, I noticed that even though it was largely fat, afterwards, after having that meal, my ketones went down to 0.8. And then I don't know what it was, but maybe it might have been stress or something, or because I just keep working, right? So I checked my ketones when I was done with work. They went down to 0.4. And so actually that's not what it is. It's not stress or whatever. My theory is that the protein is still in my system and it's kind of like swimming around and it's not being utilized. And so because of that, it has like a very long-term glycogen effect. And so this is what I'm saying is that if you're going to do that approach, realize that you're going to have to shake that protein off really hard. If you're going to take that much protein, you might as well, it won't synthesize all the way. Even if you're perfectly, like, maybe I was probably protein sensitive when I started because I broke the fast, right? Be careful, because you may not be protein you know, it may just take, like, even though your ketones in the beginning might show kind of high, it could just be that the glycogen effect is just going to be a slow one, unless you decide to fast again or something. So you have to be, I would say, understand that it's probably going to be there for the next 1 or 2 days. So for me, that's probably what I'm going to see tomorrow. But this is kind of funny because I guess this will segue to another thing I'm doing, that I'm planning on doing, is that not because of that, but just because I'm trying to accelerate my goals. I'm actually going to do another 2-day fast starting tomorrow. So this may seem kind of weird, but in a way, I'm going to do like an alternating 2-day fast in a way. I don't know. I think it's going to depend on what I see on the scale and ketones and stuff like that. But I could definitely tell you that my ketones were going down and down and down and down. It wasn't until I went on a run around 6:30 today, which is where I came back from, right, that I think they're probably kind of high. So let's go ahead and check and see how I am, because I feel a lot better after the run. I know it's runner's high and stuff like that, but I think I'm in a better ketotic state right now. I just feel it, you know. My mood is better with the ketones. When I don't have as much ketones, it just feels like I need something external for me to get the mood going. Especially because like I feel all achy and stuff from that workout yesterday. And even with all that protein, it still didn't do it enough to repair everything, you know. It just tells you how much I worked out. Let's go ahead and see how my ketones are. And that was the whole point of what I was trying to say this whole time. It's 22 minutes already. But after this, I got to clean up, and then I'll show you how I cook my fat fasting meal, if you want to call it that. It's going to be okra with baked, what do you call it? Brie, triple Brie, from France. And normally I'd feel kind of bad for having this, and I think it's already 8 p.m. because it's kind of late. I would also feel bad because generally speaking, it's a lot of fat. But I'm planning on fasting for the next 2 days, so I mean, I don't really feel so bad after all. It's just basically gonna be converting into ketones, and I'm just gonna feel good, you know. So, and I won't overdo it. So it's basically the Brie is gonna be acting as a form of a dipping tool where you just kind of dip in there, and I think I'm also gonna put an avocado in there as well. I'm thinking about putting some eggs, but I think I'm just gonna use. I think I'm gonna make like an avocado dip in a way, kind of like guacamole. I might actually mix together the Brie and the guac. Wonder how that would be. I think I'm gonna mix them together once they're cooked. But I'm just gonna take half of it, you know what I mean, and see how that works as a dip. And then I'll put like a teaspoon of olive oil. I think that's gonna be really good. I mean, holy crap. I may not have the whole thing, and I'm gonna try to count the calories to see how much it is. But yeah, so far, I have a lot more room to go up to 1,200, I guess. And then with that, I'm gonna have okra, right? I'm still watching the, not Becker, but it's not Seinfeld, whatever it is. Fraser, right? You're gonna, hopefully it's not a copyright strike by showing you that. Shit. I just feel tired from the run, you know, I just like that feeling. Anyways, let's go upstairs and check. All right. Fraser has left the building. Woo! Oh man, I always feel like this one, like achy, like whenever I get the stairs and especially after a run. There's also other news that I want to tell you, but I may have to explain that in another video. Meaning there's like a old Pokemon item I'm selling for $900 and somebody's offering me $500, so I'm like, holy crap. But anyway, that's another video, I guess, or maybe it'll be the same video. I don't know. Let's check the ketones. I'm actually gonna, just because I want to, you know, I'm kind of feeling a little bit like weird. I want to have some gum. I'll have some gum after I check my ketones. What time is it? It says here it's 8:30. I gotta be careful. I gotta kind of hurry up because I don't want it to be too late to eat. 8:30. So I normally don't eat this late. Try not to, at least. But it's all good because it's like, I mean, what's the worst that's gonna happen? I don't know. You can't sleep. Yeah, so again, it was 0.4. That was the last one. So I'm sure it's up, but I just want to check, you know, just to see. So it could still be low. I mean, it could be like 0.8, 0.7. Just because of the, like I was telling you, the protein, the glycogen effect from the protein is just that strong. Like if you have that much, I'm just warning you, if you decide you want to do the same thing that I did, I don't know if that was enough blood. I always think like it's not enough blood or whatever. Oh, I'm at 2.5. Wow. Like I said, I was feeling it. You know, I'm feeling it almost like a therapy session. But that's the advantage of being able to run long distances and stuff like that, is that it really kicks you out of your glycogen dependency real fast. I mean, not real fast, but if you can push yourself on a run, it really does good for you. Like last night, I wanted to do that more than just 40 minutes, and it turned out to be minus 300 calories. But I was getting runner's side or something, where it's like extreme cramping on the right because I had too much protein, you know, or too much too much of that protein, 65 grams of protein. So it kind of registered as like too much food to process or something. I don't know if that's why, but I was getting cramping, and maybe it could have been that or just overworking my abs or something. I just had so much cramping last night, but yeah. Thanks for watching. I'm gonna do a cap cut with this because I really just have to clean up and start the dish. Thank you.